Shalom, shalom, everybody. Welcome back to another video of mine. Today in this episode, we're gonna be ranking every Kanye album least to best. And you know what? I would say, Kanye and Kid Cudi are my favorite artists of all time. So I could say, I could probably tell you which album's is best and which one is least. And throughout the years, people have debated that which Kanye albums is best, which Kanye albums is worst, and I'll tell you right now, this is the official list. If you don't agree with me, then you're wrong. You're just wrong. Because people have been debating this for years now, but I have come to the final straw. I have come to the final conclusion of which Kanye album, it, which ones are the best, and which one are the is his worst. So if you don't agree with me, then you're just wrong, dude. I'm obviously kidding, but I think this is I'm gonna rank all of his albums least the best, and obviously there's gonna be a lot of disagreeing, because I mean, how can you rank every Kanye album? Each one is good, so like it's hard to pick which one's your favorite. But here we go. Before I start, I'm gonna say, um, I do want to say that I know there's whatever you call it, watermark with the thing I'm using to edit with, which I didn't realize that. But you know what? I don't really care. It's not like you have to watch the video. You can just see, it's just me talking, so it doesn't really matter if there's a watermark. Um, and another thing I want to say is the comments were off on my last video, but hopefully I can figure the comment section in this video, and hopefully you guys can comment because I could not figure that out last time. But yeah, here is my uh, ranking Kanye albums released the best. Let's get into it. All right, my least favorite Kanye album has to be Cruel Summer. I know what you're thinking. You're probably saying, this is not a Kanye. I mean, this album is a collaboration album with artists from Good Music. So, and it doesn't have a lot of Kanye on it. There's some songs that don't even have him on because it's just a collaboration album with a bunch of artists. But I thought I'd include it just because it's I do consider it in his discography, even if it doesn't even like have him that much on it. But one thing I will say um, is that I wouldn't really recommend this album to anyone. I'm not saying it's bad. I don't think any Kanye albums are bad, but I just don't know if I'd recommend this album to anyone because there's just better albums out there, in my opinion. And I'd only really recommend it if you're fans of anyone on Good Music, like Pusha T, Big Sean, or Kid Cudi at the time. He's not on anymore, his record label. But yeah, I'm not gonna talk too much about this album because it's not really a Kanye album because it's a bunch of artists. So let's just get into the next one. All right, diving straight into it. Now I can actually really talk about these albums, a deep dive in them. My least favorite Kanye album is his newest album he has released in 2019 is Jesus is King. And I think every Kanye fan thinks this is probably his worst album. Cause like before this album was going to come out, he had an album called Yandi. And Yandi never did come out. And it was sad because it got leaked before this album came out. And Yandi leaks, I have listened to Yandi leaks more than I have listened to Jesus is King. Because Jesus is King, what Yandi was pretty much turned into Jesus is King, but but turned God, like God lyrics or church lyrics. So and the Yandi's is so much better than this album. I'm just really disappointed that Kanye decided to go with Jesus is King instead of Yandi, which is sad. Obviously, I know why he did it because I mean, he's a full-on Christian now, so he's probably gonna be making a lot of Jesus or gospel music, which is I don't know if I like that, but from a Kanye fan perspective, I don't have any problems with religion, but I just don't know if I want every album from now on to be about God. But which is but when Jesus King came out, I was so hyped. My my brothers could tell you how hyped I was. I'll talk about it every day before the release. And when the album was supposed to come out, it got this album got delayed so many times. Like every time that it was going to release, I was so hyped, and then look on Spotify when it was time to come out, and it wasn't there. So I'd have to wait another goddamn like month, and it wasn't there again. I had to wait another week or so. God, it was pretty it was pretty nuts to roll out in classic Kanye fashion. It was pretty because Kanye always delays his album. He never. There's only been like a few albums where it's been perfectly on where he said it's going to release. Every other album of his has been delayed at some degree. But I think everyone can agree that this is probably his worst album. It's because it's just every album of his has been so like deep in his sound, but this one just seemed so like he didn't even try to. It just seems so low effort. Like even his lyrics, his dip down. Like he talks about God, which I don't have a problem if artists talking about God on an album, but like to the point where it's just saying like really like corny lines and like it's really preachy. It comes off pretty, I don't know, it's really corny. Um, and that's what this album is. It's just one thing I will say that I loved. I do like this album. Like I said, I don't hate any Kanye album. I just think this is the worst one, and it does have its problems. But one thing I do love is that he got the clips on this album, which you don't if you don't know who the clips are, it's Pusha T and his brother in a rap group back in the day, and his brother, Pusha T's brother, stopped rapping because he turned more to God and religion. So he like said, "No, I'm not doing the devil's music anymore." But Kanye got him back, and it's been a while since he's been on a rap song. It was pretty crazy that he got the clips on this album, and that's probably the best song on this album. But like I said, it just sounded like just this album just sounded like he just put the lowest effort in it, and like I hate the goddamn album cover. Like it's pretty even the album cover is low effort. Like people say Jesus is low effort, but I mean let's look at Jesus is King. The album cover it's not very good. Um, this was like I would much rather have Yandi than this, and it's sad that we got this instead. But what can you do? I still like it, but Yandi for the win, baby. Alright, my next album on the list of ranking every Kanye album least to best, we have Watch the Throne, a Kanye and Jay-Z collaboration. Um, one thing I'll say about this album, it was overhyped. It was. I think when it first came out, a lot of people thought it was just the hype was too much because it's Jay-Z and Kanye. That is the two most best, in my opinion, best hip hop artists. Kanye number two, number one, I would say Jay-Z. But yeah, when this album came out, I think a lot of people just thought it was just overhyped and overrated. But I mean, and by my opinion, I think it's great. Um, yeah, I can agree that because it's Jay-Z and Kanye, it's just crazy. It's like should be the best thing ever. But has its problems like the song of Beyonce. I mean, it's not the best song. Um, and what other song was it? Um, It was. I don't know what song it was. The prime time? Was it prime time? Yeah, I think it was. Anyway, it was like a dubstep mixed with rap. Anytime there's an EDM song that's mixed with rap, I don't think it's good at all. I've not heard an EDM mixed with rap song that's been good at once. If there is, tell me. Let me know, because I have not heard those two genres go good together. Um, but I think the artwork on the album cover is kind of lame too. I'll be honest. Um, there's one funny thing though. When Kanye and Jay-Z went on tour for this album, when they're in Paris, they played the song "N-Words in Paris" 12 times in a row. Just that song, 12 times in a row. That would I would have loved to go on that tour. But like I said, I'm not going to talk much about the collaboration albums on this list because I'm mainly just going to be focusing on the Kanye solo project. So um, let's get into the next one. All right, next album. I think I'm gonna get a lot of hate for this, but College Dropout. College Dropout was Kanye's first album, and before he was even a rapper, he started out as a producer, and he was producing for Jay-Z. And he would tell Jay-Z that he wants to be a rapper, and Jay-Z would always tell him like, "That's crazy, you're a producer, and there's no way you can be a rapper." And he always said that like, "You have no story to tell. You grew up in a nice area, and he wasn't a gangster, and he couldn't be. There's no way he could be a rapper." But um, you know, and then he would even play his songs to other like record labels, and they would tell him no. Like he would always play. I heard that he always played Jesus Walks. He played Jesus Walks to a Capitol Records, I'm pretty sure, and they said no, no way. Which is crazy because Jesus Walks was like the most iconic hip hop album, or sorry, most iconic hip hop song from like to this day. And it's crazy that they would say no to that. I bet they're like, shit, why did we fucking say no? I mean, he's the biggest artist nowadays. Kanye is. So I mean, every record label that turned them down is probably like fucking mad at themselves. But yeah, he started out as a producer, and everyone would always tell him no, and then he decided to just do it his own and call it. Don't get me wrong, I love College Dropout. I just think every Kanye album's aged like fine wine. Like they could be played in 2020 and they'd still sound like it's new. But I will say College Dropout is not like that. In my opinion, it's aged. It's his most aged album. I'm not saying it's bad. I'm just saying like it sounds old. And um, I mean, like all of his other albums, it can be played right today and it'd be fine. But and then like the skits on the album, in my opinion, skits on albums always can interfere. I don't like skits on albums. Like the workout plan on this song album is, and I mean, yeah, don't get me wrong. There's classic bops on here, like Family Business, Last Call is so good. Through the Wire. There's a funny story out there. It's not funny at all, but there's a cool story about Through the Wire. I feel like a lot of people don't really know. Like Kanye got in a car accident that almost killed him before his album dropped, or during the making of this album, and he had to go to the hospital, and they had to wire his jaw shut. And as he got out, and he still had the wire in his jaw, and he rapped through the wire with that in. That's why his voice kind of sounds kind of weird on it, and that's why the song is called Through the Wire because he had a wire in his jaw, which is just a cool fun fact, I guess. Um, let's see. Yeah, Workout Plan is kind of meh. In the skits, you could say, yeah, well, come on, they're funny. It just interferes with the flow of the album, in my opinion. That's why, and this album has aged. Say what you want. But yeah, that's why it's down lower on the list. It's still a great album, though I'd recommend it to a lot of people still. But yeah, that's my opinion on it. Let's get into the next one. All right, next is 808s and Heartbreak. I think I'm letting down someone I'm very close to on this one. PP, I am sorry. I know this is your favorite Kanye album, but I'm sorry. I think it's great. Don't get me wrong. I just think it's lower tier when it comes to Kanye. But yeah, let's get into it. Don't get me wrong. I know this is the most. I think this is the most influential album Kanye has ever made. Like there would not be there would not be emo like the genre emo rap would not exist without this album. I guarantee you there would not be Juice World. There would not be a Travis Scott. There would not be even though Travis Scott's not emo rap. There would not be a Lil Peep, Ghost Main without this album because this birthed that genre. And it's crazy to think that there were not like even Drake has come out and said that this album has influenced his music so much. So I get that this album is very influential, and it's probably his most important album in his discography. But in terms of me enjoying it, I think it's a slower tier in Kanye's discography. I like when this album came out, a lot of people because this album is a lot of Kanye singing instead of rapping. So when this album was like first came out, a lot of people were not against it, or were very against it. I mean, and like we're saying like I hate Kanye singing and all that shit. Which is fine, I think. I don't think he's the best singer either, but I mean, I do enjoy Kanye singing, but and but it wasn't until later that everyone thought this album was influential because it really is. Like there would not be a lot of artists. I guarantee The Weeknd would not be as big as he is without this album. Guarantee. And I mean, yeah, there's a lot of it's like it has a lot of Kanye's most popular songs on it, like Heartless, Amazing, Love Lockdown, Welcome to Heart, Coldest Winter, Straight Light. Oh, Straight Light is amazing. But yeah, like I said, it had a lot of Kanye singing on it, which turned heads at first, but as it went on, it became a beloved album as it grew. But and it Kanye wasn't the first to use autotune. I think we all know that, but like he really helped popularize the autotune where it is today. There's no doubt in that. But I know he wasn't the first, but I mean, I'm just saying he really helped popularize the autotune sound with this album as well. So yeah, I don't have a lot of bad things about this album. I just think it's Kanye's lower. For me, I do not like it as much as his others. So yeah. Another thing I will say though is like Kid Cudi actually. This is when Kid Cudi started to like make his come into the game and this with his album, and he actually helped a lot with this album. That's why it sounds the way it does. And he actually helped with the writing a lot on this album as well. And because I'd say Kanye kind of birthed the emo rap genre with this album, but Kid Cudi was really the first pioneer for that genre. Like he was the first big artist in that genre and helped pave the way for others. So like yeah, I just had to say that. Now let's get into the next album. All right, my next album on the list is Kanye's album, 2018 album called Ye. I know what you're thinking. I know what you're thinking. You're probably saying to yourself, "What the fuck is King thinking? Putting College Dropout or putting Ye over College Dropout, putting it over 808s?" But I'll tell you why. I'll tell you why. This album is a seven-song album, so very short. If you know me, I'm a shorter album kind of guy. This album, like its length is only like 20 minutes, I'm pretty sure. Which I don't mind other albums being long because I don't really that's fine length to me as well. I'm just saying this is more of my liking. But the reason why I put this one higher is because this is without a doubt this is Kanye's most personal album he's ever made. Like it dives deep into his controversies, his mental illness, his bipolar disorder. It is his by far his most personal album, and say what you want. Like as I say this, it's done a lot for mental health awareness. Like you say, well, you're thinking Kanye's done a lot for that, but no, he hasn't. I mean, like an artist as big as Kanye talking about this stuff, that's what I mean. Like it's done a lot for that kind of shit, like mental health awareness, and I'll appreciate that. But I like it because I think it's his most personal album without a doubt. And I mean, the the first track I thought of Killing You, well, it just sets up the whole album. Like it's perfect. The eerie beat or the eerie, yeah, it's like an eerie, really kind of soft beat, and it's just Kanye talking about how uh, he thinks about killing himself today, so you best believe he's thought about killing you as well. Um, and he talks about how his suicidal thoughts on this track and stuff. So, I mean, I can see why people would put 808s and college dropout higher, but I just think it's just I can always respect when an artist goes in very introspective on his albums and gets more personal. Because this album is polar opposites to Yeezus. Yeezus is, which we'll talk about later on the list, but Yeezus is more, egotistical. I'm a god. Yeah, I'm the best. To this album that came out later, where he drops all of that shit and just gets personal and talks about shit in his life, and I can respect that. But that's why I put it higher than those. I just, I think it's just better than those, in my personal opinion, because of that reason. And I mean, I love the runtime. It's 20 minutes, perfect time. I can respect like 40, 50 minute albums, but 20 is awesome as well. So that's another reason why I like Kids Who Ghost a lot, but we'll get to that. To the front cover, just saying I hate being bipolar. It's awesome. You know what you're getting yourself into when you see that. I love the album cover as well. The Wyoming mountains. It's dope. As you know, Kanye lives in Wyoming now. He's a farm boy now. Um, but yeah, I think that's all I have to say about Ye. But let's get into the next album. All right, next album on the list, we got Life of Pablo. Life of Pablo is Kanye's first real gospel album. Has a lot of gospel elements in it. I mean, he has a lot of gospel songs, like in it throughout his whole discography. But I mean, this album really was like a full gospel album throughout the whole, as it goes. But it's not like Jesus is King where he did it bad. This is a gospel album done good. Like, I wish Jesus is King was more like this, to be honest. But from the first song, Ultralight Beam, good God, that's Chance's best verse, and it's not even his song. Chance stole that. That's Chance's song. That's just how good his verse was. Um, but anyways, this album just screams iconic to me. Like like from the Madison Square Garden first viewing for this album. I remember when this album first dropped. I think I was in junior high still. I think I was in my last year of grade, like ninth grade in junior high for me, because ninth grade was still middle school for me. I remember when it dropped. I wasn't. It's kind of weird, crazy, because everyone knows I'm like a huge Kanye fan, but I was not a Kanye fan when this album dropped. I always thought Kanye was like whack, and until I actually dove into his music and actually found he's a goddamn genius. But I guess this album really was the first album that I really was a Kanye fan too. Um, I didn't think he was ever whack. I just wasn't really into music as a whole, to be honest. Um, until later in my life. But let's just talk about this album. Like I said, it's very gospelish, done good, not like Jesus King. Um, he like there's a song famous. Oh, goddamn famous when he's the track with famous when he's talking about Taylor Swift and how he made that bitch famous. God, I'll say it, dude. He really did. And then the beat on famous when it switches the bum bum. I don't know what that sample is, but it is the Kanye is the king of samples. I think producing wise, Kanye is the best at samples. I don't think there's any producer that beats him in that. There's no doubt in my mind. Like I think there's other better producers than Kanye, but I mean, when it comes to sampling, I think Kanye's the best in his lane for that. Um, but yeah, the famous is beautiful ultralight beam with Chance in the gospel choir. God, there's a lot of gospel choir and throughout this album. It's beautiful. I love the choir he brings on. He should have done that more in Jesus is King, because Jesus is King they only like pretty much show up in one song, which is okay. But the let's say the 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 music video for Famous. Ooh, that is Kanye's best music video in my opinion. If you don't know what it is, you might look watch it. If you're under the age, do not watch it. But because I know a lot of Code Reds viewers are probably watching this, and they're a little young. But this is Kanye's. I think one of Kanye's most controversial moments. It was the famous music video. If you don't know what it is, it's a lot of people in Kanye's life that made him who he is today. Like it shows Donald Trump. Obviously, you know how Kanye and Donald Trump be. It shows Kim Kardashian, Taylor Swift, a bunch of celebs like OJ or not OJ, um, Bill Cosby, um, just a bunch of George Bush. Who else is in it? Oh, I have the list right here. Okay, so Bill Cosby is in it. Um, Caitlyn Jen Caitlyn Jenner, Amber Rose, obviously, I used to date her. It just has a bunch of people who in his life that made him as he is, as famous as he is today, and they're all naked on a bed. Obviously, they're not. It's not actually them. They're wax dummies, but they're all. It looks exactly like them, which is the crazy thing. And they're all just naked on a bed, just chilling. And the camera just zooms out as it's playing the beat from Famous. It has like way more dislikes than it does likes, and it's a lot of people don't like it. But I mean, I think it's his best music video by far. I think it's just a big statement with like how the people in his life made him who he is today. Um, and then we have the song of Kendrick Lamar. That song is produced by Madlib, and you know how I be with Madlib. I think he's one of the best producers. I think he's better than Kanye in producing. Um, Real Friend is my favorite Kanye song of all time. Um, if we're not talking about his Kitsy Ghost album, which I'll get into later. I'll get into later in the video. Um, yeah, but Real Friend is probably my favorite Kanye song. And I mean, this album, there's not much bad to say about it. I mean, it got a really good reception when it came out. Um, the Madison Square Garden when the album came out was insane. Just a bunch of models standing still for the whole album. Just as the album played, it was crazy. I still remember that. Um, yeah. Part two, the Panda song that went wild. That song was on here a few years ago. Um, I mean, I wish Kanye and Kendrick would have more songs together. No More Parties in LA is just perfect in my opinion. and I always I think Kanye overshined Kendrick on there, which is crazy because Kendrick's known for to be the best lyricist right now in my opinion. But I mean I think Kanye did way better than him on his verse. Um, yeah, I think that just about sums up Life of Pablo. I would definitely check it out if you like gospel rap music done good. Life of Pablo's for you. Next on the list we have the one, the only Yeezus. I This album, like kind of like 808s, it when it first came out, it was not really liked by a lot of people, but as it went on, it was started to be more beloved and a cult classic. But Yeezus is Kanye's most experimental album of all time. I mean, if you listen to You Know, it's in very industrial beats, and it's Kanye's gone goddamn crazy on it. If you know this album, if you listen to this album, you know. Um, but yeah, it's Kanye's worst lyrics by far. And if you're going into this album looking for lyrics, you're not gonna get much out of it. I mean, there's some songs like Black Skinhead that are good, but or the last song, Bound to. But I mean, or Blood in the Leaves. Actually, okay, has some good songs that have lyrics, but for a lot of songs that don't. So I mean, it's not Kanye's best lyrical performance for sure. Um, but if you're, it's definitely it's this album is very experimental. Like I said, it's very industrial beats, very raw and aggressive feeling to it. I think my favorite song on the album is probably Bound to. Kanye went to this is where Kanye really dove into his fashion when this album came out. His fashion love for fashion and all his Yeezy stuff and clothing. He went to Paris or was it France? France or France? Yeah, I think it was. I don't know where, but he went to a different country and really got into fashion and recorded this album as he was doing that. Um, a lot of people say the album cover is really low effort because it's just a floppy disk with a tape over it. I fucking love this album cover. I don't know why people say it's bad, but whatever. Haters. There's haters. Um, Honestly, if I do love this album, but if there was a new Kanye fan say who's not really into Kanye's music and he was saying, "What Kanye album should I listen to?" I would not recommend this album first. It is you have to listen to his other albums first before you get to this one, in my opinion, because such a it's so crazy how Kanye first started as a very soulful sound, very soul beats, mix of conscious rap to like how it all the way all his evolution to Yeezus, where it's just every album he makes is such a different sound. There's not a lot of artists that can do that. A lot of artists drop albums that are the same sound every time, every sounds the same every album. But Kanye, from his first albums to his last, are all different. Besides maybe Jesus is King, but but it's just crazy how he evolves his sound every album. Not one album sounds this goddamn same. And Yeezus is like the most different out of all of them. It's crazy. If you know Yeezus, you know how crazy it is. um, but yeah, I if I had to choose one tour to go on for Kanye to see him live in, I would do Yeezus tours because all of his tours are awesome. Like he puts on a very good show, but like for Yeezus tour, he had like a story going on as he did the songs on the album of him like getting resurrected as Yeezus, the character Yeezus, and like he had this big ass mountain on the concert and like big ass moon in the background and there's one part in the tour where he dies and like as the story he dies and he does a bunch of like angels, I guess, around him. It's just like who does that for a concert? Like it's crazy. I would have loved to see the Yeezus tour. Mm. Yeah, I just hope to see him one day live. That's my thing. I have seen him once, but like it was for a Sunday service, and I don't know. I'd rather see him actual a live Kanye concert instead of that. But Yeezus, I love this album. I think I definitely go back to it's kind of weird, but I definitely go back to Ye and Yeezus the most. I think Ye because it's so short, it's like 20 minutes, so like I go back to that one a lot because it's just fast listen. And I like go back to this album a lot too. It's only 10 songs, and it's just I think they have definitely the most replay value. Eh, no, I wouldn't say that, but they have a lot of replay value. So yeah, check out Yeezus Boys. You know how I'll be. You know how I'll be. Next album on the list, baby. We got Kanye West Late Registrations. It's his sophomore album. Second album on the he ever made. I think it's this classic Kanye at his finest. I mean, if you really like look back to Kanye's discography, I mean, I feel like his most iconic songs are a lot of his most iconic songs are on this album. Um, like let me just go through it. Um, heard him say, touch the sky, gold digger, um, hey mama, diamonds from Sierra Leone. Um, there's so many good songs. All songs on this are good. I'm just saying. I don't think it's his most popular songs, but like besides gold digger, of course. But like his most iconic songs are on this album, in my opinion. Um, yeah, I mean this came out right after the success of College Dropout. This is just College Dropout times 10. I think this pushes the College Dropout sound to a whole nother level. The soulful beats, um, and I Diamonds from Sierra Leone. Um, I'll get into that song first. I love how Jay-Z is like rapping about how he loves jewelry and bragging about all that shit, like wearing chains and jewelry and stuff. And then Kanye comes out on the song as like a counter to that his what he's saying to like saying how kids die getting those diamonds in other countries and shit. Hey Mama, that song is gonna make me cry. Obviously Kanye's mom has passed away, and a lot of people. I mean, that's when a lot of people say he's gone mentally insane. But because his mom passed, and that's when he made 808s, which 808s is very sad boy song album, probably his saddest album. You can tell he's very emotionally broken on that album. But Hey Mama came out before his mom passed, which is good. So she heard the song, which makes me happy. Um, We Majored. The first time I heard We Major, I actually broke down in tears. Cause this, not because of the lyrics or anything, just the beat. Like the beat made me have tears that run down my face because it was just so beautiful. The beat's so beautiful, dude. You're probably like thinking like, what the fuck? But like, dude, seriously, like this beat is so beautiful. Like I cried, dude. I fucking cried, bitch. Um, uh, let's say let's Gold Digger. Obviously, that was like Kanye's first like major hit. I mean, I know Jesus Can't Walks was big too, but like Gold Digger was everywhere when it came out. Um, Still big today. Uh, Touch the Sky with Lupe. So this was like when Lupe started to, get on the map as well. Which, yeah, say what you want about Lupe. Some people say he's overrated. He's had some good shit in his discography. That's for sure. Maybe I'll talk about Lupe in another video. Um, Yeah, like I said, it's just College Dropout times. I think this is just so much better version of College Dropout. It's crazy because like this album, if you listen to this album, it still feels relevant today. Like the sound of it doesn't feel old at all, but College Dropout does. It's crazy how much Kanye evolves throughout every album. Like even College Dropout to this, which is just like a year apart, just sounds so much different. It's great. It's insane. Um, but yeah, that late registration. I wish Kanye brought back the iconic Kanye bear. He only has it in College Dropout, late registration, and graduation. I really hope he brings it back one day because I love the Kanye bear. But yeah, it's a little sidetrack. But bring back the Kanye bear. Uh, I mean, just to have the album opens with "Wake up, Mr. West, Mr. West." Ah, bruh. I could go on and on about how great Kanye's albums are. Like this video is already like what 40 minutes or something, bruh. Anyways, I could talk all day about Kanye, but I think we're in the top five albums of right now. Um, yeah, we're in my last top five. This Yeezus with five, late registrations four. So we only got three albums left, big boys. Let's get into it. Let's get into it. My next album on the list, Kanye's third studio album, Graduation. What can I say about this album? Before I get into it, I'm gonna say a bit of a little backstory. Kanye, when this album came out, what, 2007, I think? Let's see. When did this album come out? Yeah, 2007, I was right. When this album came out in 2007, the biggest rappers right at that time were 50 Cent and Kanye West, and they were dropping an album on the same day. Um, and it was like this big thing for a lot of hip hop fans saying who was gonna outsell who. Ooh, I'm gonna buy 50 Cent album. Oh no, I'm gonna buy Kanye's album. And then they even Kanye and 50 Cent took it to another degree and actually had a competition to see who would outsell who. And 50 Cent said if Kanye outsold him in album sales for this album he was dropping, he would retire from rap. Um, and uh, and the day came. Um, Big day for hip hop. Two of the biggest albums hit rappers dropping on the same day. That'd be insane. Um, if that today that happened. Like say if like today Kanye and I don't know Kendrick were dropping the same day. Oof, I would fucking shit my pants. It's kidding, but I would be go crazy. I would go crazy. But yeah, the day came. 50 Cent, Kanye outsold him by a mile. Like the miles. I don't know the exact numbers. Um, but Kanye outsold him by a lot. Of course, 50 Cent did not stop rapping, but yeah. But this album, one of Kanye's most influential albums as well. Not as I wouldn't say as influential as 808s, but this album made it so you didn't have to, because the most popular rap at the time was gangster rap. 50 Cent was the most popular. Besides Kanye, 50 Cent was the most popular rapper, and he's, that kind of rapper, get the gangster rap kind of rapper. That was like the most popular rap at the time. And then you see Kanye dropping this weird electronic rap album that has nothing to do with that kind of stuff. It was just a different kind of rap at the time. It's crazy how like this was such a different sound for the genre. Um, and if it wasn't for this album, there would not be a lot of rappers that were not, part of the gangster rap era rapping today. I guarantee that. Um, like you wouldn't have people like Lil Yachty, he's not like a, thug, or you wouldn't have a lot of people like that. It's yeah, and then the sound um, of it is insane. It's he mixed like electronic music with rap with soul beats still. It's insane. And he really made this album for to play in arenas, and he was really the first rapper to start playing in arenas, to be honest. Um, and this album this was made for that kind of space. I favorite albums on this list. I have to say, so many good ones. Every song. A lot of people have a problem with this album. Like everyone says this is one of their Kanye's best albums, but a lot of people say Barry Bonds and Drunken Hot Girls is actually like bad songs, but Drunken Hot Girls is probably Kanye's worst song he's ever made because it's just about, as the song says, drunken hot girls. And people say that's his worst like song he's ever made. It's not bad. I don't get why he gets so much hate. Like just because he's talking about that, like what the song says, it doesn't mean it's bad. Because I would say it does not fit with the rest of the album and what he's talking about. And then you just see drunken hot girls on for some reason. But I mean, I never had a problem with it. Good Morning's amazing. Champion's amazing. Stronger. Me and Code Red did a pod on the best Kanye songs, and Stronger won. I did not want Stronger to win. I don't think Stronger is Kanye's best song by a mile, by a long shot. I don't even think it's top 10. But, Code Red, wrong about that. I wonder, Good Life, I mean, come on, bro. Flashing Lights, the beat on Flashing Lights is insane. Um, Everything I Am is probably the best song on the album, in my opinion. It's Homecoming. Homecoming's crazy. He's talking about this girl, but at the same time he's talking about the city, Windy City. He's talking about Windy, this girl, but also talking about the Windy City. It's good triple entendres, um, or double entendres, I meant. Um, Big Brother. Let's get into that. Big Brother is about how it's about a lot of people. Like my brother is Cody Red. He's a big Kanye fan as me. He's not as big as me, but he likes Kanye as much, like a lot. And I told him what it's a Big Brother is about, and he did not know it was about Jay-Z. Um, so I don't know if like a lot of people don't know that, but I would say what it's about. It's about how when Kanye was first up and coming into this, how Jay-Z would never, Jay-Z was like his big brother. He showed him the ways, he showed him the way of the rap game and stuff, but then he never let him in the limelight, kind of how like big brothers are. 'Cause they never let their younger brother have the good shit and stuff. Because Jay-Z never wanted Kanye to rap. He never wanted him to just stay producing. That's what Big Brother's about. Um, yeah, Kanye Graduation, influential album, very influential in the rap game. I recommend. I recommend. If you haven't heard it already, I don't know why you haven't, because it's pretty iconic album. But in hip hop at least. But let's get in. Graduation's my third album. Let's get in the last two, baby. My number two spot. I probably a lot of people are wondering, how is this not your number one? What the hell is your number one? Fuck you, Caden. Um, but you know what? I think there's an album that's better, but we'll get to it obviously. But for now, let's talk about this. My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy. I think I'm gonna have the most to say about this one. Let's start from the beginning. Kanye from the 808s, Grammys, or was it Grammys or VMAs? I don't know, the iconic. Taylor, I'm gonna let you finish, but I think Beyonce has the best music video, whatever he says. That whole situation. Um, that was at like the VMAs when 808s was out. And he after that, he got so much flack. Like Honestly, if Kanye did that now, I don't think he would care about all the shit he was getting. But back then he was different, and he got so much shit. Even the president at the time, Obama, talked about it. He said he was an asshole. So, um, like even most Def called him up and said, you should stay out of the limelight for a while, and because everyone hated Kanye when that happened. So most Def, another rapper, he called him up and said you should stay low, and he also said you should leave the country. So Kanye left the country and he lived in Rome for a bit, and Japan for a little bit as well. Um, and that's when he got into fashion a lot, and he actually said he was gonna stop rapping and start doing more fashion, but I mean that we all know that didn't end up happening. But I mean he does fashion. He has a huge fashion line, but he also he's made a lot of albums when he said he's gonna retire. But yeah, he said he was gonna just stop rapping, but then he so when the point where he was living in Rome and Japan, and then he eventually ended up in Hawaii, isolated from the world. No one really knew where he was. It's kind of crazy thinking back, or I wasn't really. I was a little kid, so I didn't know what the hell was going on when this album dropped, but or before this album dropped. But a lot of people were like, Kanye was out of the limelight after that incident with Taylor Swift and the VMAs because he just did not need because he got so much flack, everyone was hating him, so he just stayed out of that limelight for a while, and he moved to Hawaii to make My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy, and he stayed there for a long time, and the way this album was made is crazy because he would fly in artists from other places, other countries, and like United States and I don't know, wherever the artists were. He would fly. Hawaii's part of the United States. What am I saying? But he would fly a bunch of artists to Hawaii, and he would make them live at the studio. He was making this album for like a week, for weeks. I don't know how long. I think it was like 2 weeks or so, nonstop making music. They'd have to come to the studio wearing suits. They would wake they would wake up, eat breakfast, work out, and then for the rest of the day, for 12 hours, they would be in the studio. Like people like RZA on the album, Rick Ross, Nicki Minaj, they all did this for a long time. They just came to Hawaii, worked on this album. Like that's just crazy. No artists, there's not a lot of artists that do that. But even Rizzo was like saying that he's never seen any rapper do this kind of shit when he went there. Like Kanye got the best out of the artists that came. Like people say Nicki Minaj is on the album. People say that's Nicki Minaj's best verse of all time she's ever laid down. Rick Ross is on the album. People say the same thing about Rick Ross's verse. He just got everyone's best and put into his album, making them work a long time wearing suits, just on like nonstop. Whatever you got, just give it your all. And um, my beautiful dark twisted fantasy. People say this is the best hip hop. A lot of people say it's the best hip hop album of all time. I will not argue with that. I think it's top three at least. I don't know if it's. I don't think it's number one in my opinion. I do think it's a top five hip hop album. Um, yeah, it's incredible. Like to see like I said, the evolution between College Dropout to this album is insane. It's the best artist growth I've ever seen ever. I think that's why this Kanye is so great. The evolution growth between albums is just such a different sound every album. Um, God, when and then he Kanye finally dropped the first single. I don't know if it was the first single, but he played the first song live from the album at MTV Awards. That is so iconic. I would recommend you, if you're a Kanye fan, look it up. It's Runaway. He performed Runaway on MTV Awards. He came out, had the MPC 2000, which you don't know, it's a beat maker. He was playing Runaway on it, and there's these girls that were running around the show with like a big blanket, and then Pusha T comes out. Bro, it's so iconic. Look it up if you're a Kanye fan. And that made people excited. And then he had the Good Music Fridays, where he would drop music that didn't make the album. Which is crazy that the songs that didn't make the album could make its own album and still be really great. Like it's crazy that the throwaways were really good still. Um, yeah, I My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy. A lot of people say it's the best hip hop album of all time. Not much to say. It's goated. Funny thing is that uh, the original artwork is not what I'm showing. It's something that's blurred out, which was very controversial. That's why they had to blur it out. It wasn't because the original picture wasn't blurred out, but they made him blur it out, which is kind of sad. But I mean, it's still iconic, the blurry picture. Um, Dark fantasy, power, all the lights, gorgeous with Kid Cudi. Gorgeous is some of the best bars in hip hop history, like by Kanye. Like his lines on that. Um, Let me just read some of them. I think it's a lot of people say it's one of the best hip hop songs ever. Um, but let's see. Monster, Nicki Minaj gave her best verse. Honestly, Soul Pod has Jay-Z. Who has an album with Jay-Z, Pusha T, RZA, Rick Ross, Bon Iver? I'm pronouncing his name wrong. John Legend. I mean, the amount of people that worked on all of the lights is crazy. Like he had Elton John on it, a bunch of people. It's crazy how many people he flew out and just had him give him his best. Um, yeah, so the gorgeous lyrics are some of the best in hip hop. It's like I have the lyrics right here. Penitentiary chances, the devil dances, and eventually answers the call of autumn. All of them fallen for the love of ballin'. We got caught with 30 rocks. The cop looked like Alec Baldwin. Inter-century anthems based off inner city tantrums, based off the way we was branded. Face it, Jerome got more time than Brandon. In the airport, they check all through my bag and tell me that it's random, but we stay winning. This week has been a bad message, and I need a happy ending, a new beginning, a new fitted, and some job opportunities at the lucrative. This the new real world, homie. School finished. They done stole your dreams. You don't know who did it. I treat the cash the way the government treat AIDS. I won't be satisfied till all my. I won't say that. Get it? Get it? Bruh. Some of the best bars of in hip hop on this song. It's crazy. But yeah, let's get into the next album. My last album on the list, my number one pick for Kanye's best album is Kids See Ghosts. The last, besides Jesus King, is the last album that came out in 2018. A lot of people are probably crazy, right? Going crazy right now. If they're a Kanye fan and they think that they see that My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy is lower than Kids See Ghosts, but you know what? It's okay. Everyone has their own opinions, and like I said in the beginning of the video, my opinion's right. You're wrong. Haha. No, I'm just kidding. Um, but this album, why I like this album the best is one, Kid Cudi's my favorite artist, so I mean, once I heard that Kanye and Kid Cudi were finally, because people have been wanting a Kid Cudi and Kanye album collab for so long. I wanted it for so long, and others did too. And when I heard they were having an album together, I was so excited. And the reason I like this album the best is because it's, how Kid Cudi, went into rehab for suicidal thoughts and all of his, he struggles with depression and stuff. And Kanye's, all of his Kanye struggles with, his mental disorders by being bipolar and being being told to be on pills and stuff. They come together and it's like they're reborn on this album. They're saying all their problems and just letting go and moving on. It's like this album's all about like rebirth and this like being reborn, as one of the songs on the album is called Reborn. It's probably my favorite. That song's probably my favorite Kanye song, and Kid Cudi too. Like they come together and they just fight their demons on this album. It's pretty. That's why I like it a lot. Um, has a lot of elements of rock and hip hop mixed together, which is very cool. Yeah, which Kid Cudi has a lot of in his music, but uh, so when they did it together with Kanye, it's pretty cool. And yeah, that is my end list of all Kanye albums. This list is right, and yours is always gonna be wrong. I'm kidding, but yeah, I hope you enjoyed. If you want me to talk about or rank any other people's albums discography, let me know, because I'll be down to do that. I'm probably gonna review some albums for my next videos. So if you have any album you want me to listen to and review for you, write them down in the comments. Hopefully comments work this video. I'll be really sad if they don't. But yeah, thanks for watching. I really enjoy doing this. So have a good one.